To build anything that truly lasts, it takes time.
Good evening and welcome to the Money Show, your daily guide to mastering personal finance and building a more secure tomorrow. I'm your host, Kavita Thaplial. And finances can feel complex, managing debt, planning for retirement, understanding markets, even founding wealth, building habits. But here on the Money Show, we simplify it all, from debt management and savings to savvy investing, risk planning, behavioral insights. We leave no topic untouched, whether you're curious about creating an emergency fund, navigating rising inflation, or investing in mutual funds and SIPs. We bring voices you can trust, real experts, real stories, and real solutions. Every episode, we demystify one financial challenge and equip you with practical steps to help you take charge of your money's future. And today also we've got a very crucial aspect of financial planning, where we'll be talking about lending money or giving money to your relatives or friends. So we'll be talking about actionable strategies. Basically, it's all about your behavior towards your money that will be in focus. So all you have to do is just stay tuned. It's time to take control of your financial destiny. And all you have to do, if in case you want our experts' help on any aspect of your financial planning, we'll also flash our WhatsApp number and email ID before we go on to this topic. You can WhatsApp us your queries on our WhatsApp number, which is 8657974571, and the email ID is themoneyshow@etnow.tv, where you can send across your portfolio queries if in case you want our experts' recommendation or their advice on your portfolio and financial strategies. All right, but having said that, let's begin the show. And today we are diving into a dilemma as ancient as Shakespeare and as modern as your WhatsApp group. Should you neither be a borrower nor a lender when it comes to friends and family? This timeless advice, neither a borrower nor a lender be both itself and friend, was spent over 400 years ago, but it remains hauntingly relevant when money mixes with relationships. Now consider this: one individual lent close to almost 60 lakhs over years to people they trusted without any clear repayment plan or even a mention of payback at the time. But when the time came, the money didn't return, and neither did the relationship. So today we'll explore the emotional, financial and relational minefield that forms one loved one swap trust for transactions. We look at expert advices, why you must have the nerve to say no, lay out clear terms and repayment timelines, lend only what you can afford to lose, and most importantly, put it in writing. Even a simple handwritten note can save a friendship. How do you balance empathy with responsibility? Can you help without enabling dependency? And is it ever truly worth risking a bomb over a loan? Let's find this out and break this for you. I have with me Roshni Nayak, founder Goldbridge. Hi Roshni, good evening and welcome to the show. Okay,
Good
so
evening, Kavita.
let's begin with the emotional pause. You opened up by quoting Shakespeare. Neither a borrower nor a lender be. How much of your own advice is shaped by personal experiences over year or observations of relationships souring over money?
Well, as you said, money can be a tricky issue, when it comes to lending money to friends, relatives, acquaintances, business partners. And when the subject is brought up, mostly unexpectedly, people do not know how to respond, and they end up saying yes, even if they want to say no. It's not a resounding yes, it's a half-hearted yes. And later on in life, they do regret such decisions. So it is very important to think straight with a clear head for arriving at the decision whether you want to lend or not. You know, uh, saying no is an art, and many people do not know that. So, have the courage and have the nerve to say no. A subtle hint can be dropped if possible, that you are not in a position to lend or it's not feasible right now since you need the money in the coming months, I think that can be a very clear message to the borrower that you do not wish to lend.
All right. Uh, let's talk about having the guts to say no. Saying no with grace. Now, you advise having the courage to say no politely. How do you suggest viewers handle the conversation tactfully, especially if they fear, appearing uncaring, because that happens a lot. If it is a close knit relationship, it is a if it's a relative, or an immediate relationship, how do you have the money conversation at the time, especially at the time when you want it back from them?
Correct. So as I said, it's very, very important to think straight in such situations. And you want to be considerate. You do not want to hurt someone's feelings, right? So, as I said, you can drop a subtle hint saying that, you are not in a position to lend, or, it's not feasible right now financially for yourself, you know, and that way, indirectly you can convey that message to the borrower that you do not wish to lend. I also know of many people who harbor this life principle that they would never ever lend or borrow money for that matter, when it comes to close ones. So I think that also helps.
But then you're also talking about evaluating habits, in the sense you mentioned lending only for the right reasons. Now, what exactly do you mean? If there is a scenario that you can share where you recommended lending despite the risk, and what made the case different? The reason I'm asking is because whoever is approaching will definitely make sure that the reason is solid and there is no doubt in your head to doubt their reason. So how do you ensure that this lending is for the right reasons?
Correct. So, Kavita, as you know, every relation is different, it has a different equation. And there could be people in your life whom you genuinely want to help. And if you do arrive at a decision to help, it is first, as you said, it is important that you lend for the right reason. If you know someone who is leading a lavish lifestyle but has a tendency to borrow frequently, in your social circles, then it's a major red flag. But if you know the borrower whose situation is actually genuinely dire, and for some reason, and he's willing to transparently share the information or the situation he is in, and you want to help, that's where you can at least. That's why I said you don't want to help out of guilt or pity. You should lend for the right reason. I think that can help you to arrive at the decision whether you want to lend or not.
Sure, absolutely. A lot of people loan money as gifts now. One very important thing or a word of caution that people should lend only what they're okay for of being lost or okay of losing. Do you ever think it's better to treat such money as gift instead of loan? And if so, how should one frame that with the loved ones?
Okay, good question. So, it's important that, first you consider your own financial situation, any short-term requirement which is cropping up, in the coming months. You would want to put your self-interest first and then decide on the amount that you would want to, loan or gift. Okay. But it is important, there could be a situation where the borrower is not in, even if he or she intends to, is not in a position to repay you in time. So decide on the amount that you can afford to lose. Part with the amount that you can afford to lose. I think that's very important.
All right. Also, one thing is, a lot of time when we give loan to our family, the way we give it is very informal because family members, right? But then writing down the loan that you've given, that is something very new. How can you do it? Have you seen the immediate effects of families, documenting the loan that they give into a fight, or maybe having a repayment plan without making it feel legal or cold? How can one go about it? Because that's slightly tricky, because you are
That's
documenting
right.
it and the person you're doing it for or with is a very close one.
Right. In personal circles, yes, as you said, it's very tricky. But having said that, in business circles, informally lending money, is very, very common. And I have seen two cases where large chunks of money were given and they were not returned. The money never came back. So at least in business circles, I suggest that it's important that you maintain a record, have witnesses. That really really helps, even if it's not a legal document.
Okay. Uh, a lot of time what happens is uh, people are genuinely not in a position to pay you back. How can you then handle or tackle that kind of a situation? Because if it's a relationship which is very close, how do you sail through it? And how do you ensure that, there is dignity in the relationship is intact, and also, you should be prepared for never getting back your money then.
Correct. So I think, as I said, lend the money that you can afford to lose. Okay. But at the time of lending, it is imperative that you do mention payback at the outset. What happens is, Kavita, if you do not mention payback, the borrower will assume that you do not need the money for some time now, or you do not need the money at all. You're giving it out of charity. That will signal a wrong message. So it's important to mention payback, maybe again in a subtle way that, you would need the money in the coming months, something like that. You can give a clear message, indirect message to the borrower. So at least the borrower can expect that, yes, you are expecting that money back.
All right, Roshni, I think that's all for today. Thank you so much for being on the show and helping our viewers understand the right way to lend money, especially to your family and friends. And it's good if you just stay off it. But thank you so much for being on the show today. Thanks.
Thank you, Kavita. My pleasure.